Are we live? I don't know if I'm live. I never know if I'm live. I have to wait for my wife to text me to know if I'm live because there's a little bit of a delay, if you will. Every time I go on here, I'm like, I don't know what's happening, and you guys have to listen to me say that kind of stuff, and it's just ridiculous. Uh, Hold on, now we've got reverb because I'm watching myself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mountain Bike Q&A. I'm your host, Johnny U. How you guys doing? If you're not watching live, if you're watching this recorded, still, how you doing? I hope you're doing good. A little update with Moi OC. As you guys may or may not know, I just received my new bike, the YT Izzo Core 2. Yes, I'm no longer a hardtailer. I've always bragged about it. Being a hardtailer, I can hardtail any trail. Holy cow, Trails and Ales, what's going on, buddy? This guy is a big fan of Amelia. I've seen some videos of him there. Is this guy, you got to go on. You got to look at this kid. Really great progression on his bike, and he's just shredding. I don't know him, haven't met him. Very proud of him. Anywho, with the bike, I will have a video out hopefully this weekend of an unboxing and a bike build. It's not your typical bike build or unboxing. It's a la Johnny U style. It's going to be a little goofy. So, hold on. He might be texting himself. Yes, let's do this. Okay. Don't yell at me. Let's bring on our guest. He's a trail builder. I've been excited about this because we ride these trails and I feel like sometimes we just ride them. We don't think about what goes into the maintaining and the building of them. I know people say, oh, thank you, trail builders, but I think this is going to be awesome hearing straight from the trail builder's mouth what's involved. So let's bring him on, ladies and gentlemen, Antonio. He's a super dad too.
Hey, what's up, Johnny?
Doing good, man. What up, Antonio? You know Speedy V?
Yeah, who's that?
Speedy V?
Oh, I think that's Yanier. That's one of my trail guys, one of my trail builders.
If you look to your right of the screen, you can hit comments. Do you have that popped up yet?
Yes.
Okay. You don't got to yell at me.
Okay.
How you doing, man? Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man. I love to, I love to get in here and just answer all the questions that people have that I usually answer one-on-one. Now I can answer them for everybody and they get saved in a video and I can use them again and again.
You can just go to Mountain Bike Q&A. We've answered it.
Yes.
It's going good, Trails and Ales. Is it going good for you, Antonio?
Yes, I'm doing great.
He loves showing off Amelia on his videos.
I have seen, yes.
Oh, you've seen him? He's got great videos.
Yes.
So anywho, see, I told you my train derails. You like how that happened?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, it derailed. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you living? You're down here in the South Florida area.
Yeah, so I live in South Florida. I live in Miramar, and I'm based out of Miami Lakes. I have an office here, which is where I am. So I'm really close to Amelia. I can practically see the trails from here. I can see the airport. I can see the airplanes going down there. So I'm really close to the trails, which is, basic. If you're gonna be the trail boss, you gotta be close by. So when something happens, like a fire, you can go there quickly.
Yeah. So do you ever get like you're at work and you kind of see the trails and start looking over and you're like, well, maybe work can take the back seat today?
Oh, so much. You have no idea. A lot for either riding or building.
What so you have a family?
Yeah, I have 2 kids. I'm married. They all support me in this. They love, we travel for the mountain bike races. So they love it. Great. They love traveling, so yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So they're supportive.
Yes.
They love what you do.
Yes.
When you're not working on the trails, what are you doing? What is Antonio doing?
I have motorcycles, so I like riding motorcycle. And if not that, I'm with my kids. Like, I just love my kids. I love being with them. They're so much fun. They're just, I'll build Legos with them. I love building Legos. I'll buy
Oh,
Legos. Yeah.
I was about to say that it'd just be horrible. You'd be like, I got two kids, and I just really, if I could get rid of them. Hey, you're a super dad. Says it right there on your
I,
cup.
I try.
So
It's not
you're
easy.
at Prototype Monster. Tell me a little bit about what you do, your day job before you start
Right.
digging.
Right. So Prototype Monster is a company. I help people turn their ideas into actual products. I help them find a supplier. I help them convert their idea into an actual design using 3D software prototyping. Then we'll find a supplier either overseas or here in the States, and then we'll manufacture the product, and then we'll bring it to the customer, and then they can either ship it themselves or we send it to Amazon, and I help them with the marketing. So it's like a one-stop shop for inventors that have an idea and they don't know what to do with it. I help them get through the process, guide them through. It's really fun for me. It's like a dream come true, and I get to do it. I get to be selective of my clients. If a project is bad, I'm like, I usually don't take it. If a client is crazy, I don't take it. But
Yeah.
so I get to be selective about what I do. But I love doing this, and I love the trail. So I'm living my best life right now.
Good for you, man. I'm just going to end it on that because I don't think we're going to get any better. Let me just hit the end podcast. My wife says, this is my wife. You will see her pop on. That's why I joked about you can comment with my wife because a lot of the commenting over here, wherever, it'll be my wife and a bunch of people. But she says, what kind of products do you help with the patents?
I mean, I'll do anything. Like we usually get a lot of consumer products, like trinkets. Like I have this thing that is gonna do this, or a lot of times it's somebody in a trade. Like I'm an electrician and I always do this, and it's really time consuming, and I want to build this tool that allows me to do that faster. Or it'll be a paint guy or a mechanic or somebody who repairs toilets. They'll have like a tool they invented, and they'll bring it made out of wood, and they're like, look, it works. And I'm just like, okay, I'll turn that into a plastic product made out of 3 parts with a pin that actually you can actually manufacture it in a factory. And yes, we do patents. We do design patents or utility patents, which is a little bit different purpose for each one, but we help get through the whole process. We have attorneys on staff that can take care of the patents. So yeah, we do everything.
That's amazing. How did you get, oh, we'll get to the trail building. That's whatever. But how does someone get into something like that?
um
You just
I
figured
went,
it out in college. You went to college and you just said, "Oh, they're probably a market for this."
it's weird, but I studied engineering, the industrial design. I studied engineering. Then I went to work for a bunch of companies. I worked for like 10 big companies, and I kept leaving because I get tired and I would just quit. Like, I hate this place after a year. So I worked for 10 big companies. And then after that, I was just like, that's it. I know everything. I'm going to build my own thing. And then I started it because I figured I already went through the whole process at every stage, and I already had supplier relations. So I was just
Yeah.
like, it's the next logical step. So,
Do your own thing. Don't work for the man. Work for yourself.
yes.
Run Bike Mike. Here we go, buddy. Thanks for popping on.
Yes.
Oh, another great YouTuber. Oh, I'm so blessed. I got to tell you, I got people like you on. Trails and Nails might run by. I'll get Trails and Nails on here one of these days. This is so, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I mean, you see, you're running your own business. You're putting out buyers. He went this back. Here's a compliment. It's riding so much better. Thank you. You get a thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, kids, family, job. We got that out of the way. How does one get into building and maintaining one of the best mountain bike parks here in South Florida?
So in 2016, I started going there to pick up trash. That was the first thing I did. I was riding and I noticed a lot of trash. So I started going with white just trash bags, and I started filling them up by myself, not even talking to anybody. I would just fill them up and I put
On
them
your
aside.
own.
And at Amelia, yeah.
On your own. You just
On my own, yeah, yeah. Then in 2017, we had the big hurricane, and then I started going there, and I said, "Look, I'll do the next thing aside from trash pickup." And then I started weed whacking, and also I bought a chainsaw, and I started clearing the trails. And then after that, I started just cutting. I became the cutting crew, and I would go with my weed whacker and I would cut. In 2020, when the pandy started, the, the guy who was running the trails, he decided to retire. He said, "I've had enough of this. There's riots. I'm not." He's a firefighter, so he was just like, "I'm done with this.
Uh-huh.
I'm moving. I'm gone." He moved to the mountains, and I went up to him and I told him, "Look, man, like the trails are in very bad disrepair, and somebody's gonna take over." And he said, "Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but," and I told him, "Please, let me take it. Let me take it from here, and if I mess it up, I'll give it back." And he was just like, "All right, let's give it a shot." So he gave me the keys, and I had to learn everything. Like I knew how to weed whack and chainsaw. That's it. I had to learn how to become an earth mover, trail builder, actually get geometry right so you can do a build and not have people kill themselves. Berms, the entry exit angles, the berm angle. I mean, there's just so much to it. It's not as simple as just build some jumps, bro. It's not that simple.
There's not a lot down here anyway.
The jump line, bro, is not that simple. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So it's very complex, and aside from that, you have the bureaucracy of the park to deal with, and they're easygoing people, but they have some rules. You're working within a box, so you work in that box and do what you can. And so that's kind of how I got into it.
So now you talk about the bosses of the park, or the people that run or whatever. Is this owned by Miami-Dade County or the Miami-Dade City? It's a county park, right?
It is owned by Miami-Dade County, and it's run by Miami-Dade County Parks, Recreations, and Open Spaces, MD Pros. So those are the people that are in charge of Amelia as a whole. Now, everything north of the lake does not have assigned personnel from the park. When they built the trails in 2014, they said, "Look, you guys can maintain your own trail. We don't have any staff in Miami-Dade that knows anything about mountain bikes because it's an extreme sport. They consider it an extreme sport." So they said, "From the lake up, it's all you. We'll pick up trash. We'll pick up trash. That's it. You got to deal with all that stuff yourself." So that was a deal that was struck, and it's grandfathered in. I go up to them and I tell them that I need help, and they said, "That's not part of the deal. The deal is that you guys build your own stuff. You buy your own machines. You're self-funded." So
really.
Yes. So I've been talking to different people in the county, like the commissioner, the Mayor Levine, to get them to change that deal. But some things are just they're not that easy to change. It's difficult. So I'm working on it. I think with time and proving myself is gonna come those things. We're gonna have progression, but it's a long game. These people have been in government for 10, 20 years. And if you're coming in there just stomping your boots like, "Give me stuff," you're gonna have a bad time. You have to be the turtle in the race and just work your way through. And
this is all fascinating to me because you guys are all self-funded. The trails are self-funded through donations.
Well, yes, for the most part, donations are what pay for a lot of things, but a lot of the equipment was purchased out of pocket because in 2020 I went up to the park and I asked them, "I need an earth moving machine, I need an excavator," and they said, "Look, there's a list of like 10 parks that have requested this equipment, so we'll request it, but we'll be number 10." And the guy on the front of the list, he's been waiting for 6 years, so just do the math. So I was just like, I started looking how much it cost, and I convinced myself that I had to buy one, so I bought it, and so there's been a lot of little purchases that if I ever were to leave the trails, I would sell and I would get my money back partially, but for the time being, they're used only there. I just use them at the trails, and I've learned to use them there. I learned how to use a skid steer, an excavator there, which is a good place to learn because you can't break a sidewalk, you can't break a building. You're in the middle of a forest picking up dirt, hitting a tree, nothing happens. So yeah.
I can't. It seems like a lot of work. You already got a job and kids.
Yeah, I know. That's what I tell people when they come up to me and they're like, "Oh, we need a jump line, we need this, we need that," and I'm like, I know, but like I have to cut, I have to build, I have to do repairs, signage, the website, the Instagram, the park, the web, basically everything. And I'm spread so, and then I also have a business and kids. So, and
Wow. Muy impresivo.
here's the thing: there's a lot of time, a lot of months when nothing happens in the trails. Like when it's really hot, like I won't
Oh,
be
yeah,
there
nobody's doing, yeah.
for weeks, because I'm like, no, I'm busy at work. I got the kids. There's a lot of stuff going on, and they're basically on cruise control. We'll go once every 2 Sundays to trim a trail, cut, and then I go back. So it's not that I'm always there, always digging. Oh, I gotta get this done. There's
Yeah, no.
time when we put it aside and we go, okay, we're gonna live.
Yeah, you got to live, especially when it's hot, man. Who's riding? I'm impressed when people are riding in like August. That's like there's people that don't ride in the winter because it's snowing. That's my equivalent of I'm taking a break.
Yeah.
It's deadly hot. We got a trail builder right here, Venicava MTB, out there in California. California, is it?
Digger.
Let's go Diggers, man. He building a jump line right now. Again, hats off to you guys that are doing all this. I had no idea. This is what I loved about doing this, is that we ride these trails and we go, oh God, that was such a fun day, man. And we high five and do you do that one thing and the other thing, and then you try drinking a beer, but you don't think about what goes into that fun that you just had. And just what you just said made me tired. Like you do so much.
Yeah.
And did you've already said you didn't know what to do in the beginning, but do you find yourself being kind of a professional after all these years? Like you know what you're doing.
Yes. At this point, I can do a build, I can do a berm, I can do a double and leave, finish it and leave without writing it. And I know, I look at it and I go, this is going to work. Like I just know it. I always write them, but there's been times when I finish it and I'm just like, let's go. Like there's nothing to be done here. And then I write it 2 days later and I rail it and I'm just like, oh, that's perfect. and I get the feedback. Everyone's calling me, texting me on WhatsApp, like, dude, that feature came out sick. And I'm just like, I know.
You're like, I know.
But here's
I
the thing.
get it.
Yeah. But I'll go to another park and I'll see some building methods. And I'm just like, I don't know how to do that, like, and my trail crew will be like, let's do something like that. And I tell them I can't because I don't have the confidence that I'm going to get it perfectly. I probably need to get one of those guys to come here for a day and fill me in on the little things, it's the little details that make a build great, that go from good to great. And I'm risk averse, I don't like finishing a build, walking away, and people calling me, hey, that sucks, it's terrible, somebody fell, somebody broke their clavicle. That's the worst thing that can happen.
I'm going to back it up a little bit. So you are a rider.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you riding?
I ride a Specialized Levo S Works. It's an e-bike, 29er.
And that's my question. That was going to lead to my next question. I had no idea e-bikes were allowed on any trail in Miami.
They're allowed in Olita, which is a state park. They're allowed in Amelia because it's Hialeah and you can do whatever you want, I'll do whatever.
I do whatever. Nobody's going to catch me.
What's funny that the park managers told me, do not enforce anything inside the trails. If somebody's without a helmet, let them go. If somebody's, whatever people are doing, you can talk to them, but do not force them to do something. Kind of like it's done at VK where they force people to leave,
Yeah, I've actually seen that.
Yeah, they told me, do not do that. People are packing here and, something bad can happen. Let them be. Let them ride with no helmet. Let them ride naked.
Let them be stupid. They break their head. They break their head.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
that's weird.
So I ride and I raced this past season with Gone Riding. I did the whole series with the e-bike racing.
Wow.
And it was the funnest thing I've done in a long time. I went to pretty much every trail system in Florida. So I went to Santos twice on both ends.
Nice.
Velasco, Tom Brown. I hit all of them because people had told me you need to travel and see these trails. And when I finished, I came back to Florida and I rode Amelia, and I was like, oh my God, we have a great trail. There is no question. After riding all these trail systems, I came back and I said, we have such a compact trail. It's small, but it's all in there. It's 8 miles. It's very compact. Like if you ride San Velasco, you're like lost in the middle of this humongous forest, and you're just so far. Same thing with Santos. You're so far. You're just
Yeah,
like, oh
been
my
there.
God, I'm like miles from the trailhead. And when same thing with Alva. All these trails are spread out over a long place, and Amelia's very compact, and we got it all. It's a pedal power park. You got to pedal.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say I don't know if you've seen any of my stuff, but I always joke about if you stop pedaling on our trails, you stop riding.
Yeah.
You have to it's like a nonstop pedal place.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Santos because I remember being there many moons ago, and it was my buddy was just beat, and he wasn't much of a mountain biker, and he wanted to get back to the car, and it was like forever. Here, I told you before this thing started. I mean, I didn't know. I was going to ask you how many miles. It's 8 miles of trails back there.
It's 7.5, and if you add all the access roads and all the flat areas, you get a little bit over 8.
Yeah, but I told you, I got to a certain point New Year's Eve, and I was like, okay, I'm done. And it was so easy to get back and get out.
Yes.
It's like you said, it's 8 miles in this space.
Yes. You find a lake, and then that's it. You follow it. You get to your car, and
Yeah, that's what you do. You do. Oh, you guys see water over there. Okay, just get out that way. You know what I like about Amelia? Alita, you said Alita. Is it's all doable.
Yes.
There's no trail over there. Like when I went again New Year's Eve, I told my wife, I said, I just want a fun ride. And I get like the other trails down here are fun as well, but this I can just flow. It's such a flowy trail. Do you take pride in being able to do it? And I will add on to that. The berms are dialed in like crazy since the last time I went.
Yes, and I do have to give credit to my predecessor because he's the one who really came in there and did the mapping of the trails. And there's been many times when I go, okay, I'm going to add a new trail. And then I start looking and I'm like, no, no, no. And there's a fine line, right? Like you could have something like VK where you have spaghetti, you're like a million turns in a tight space.
Yeah.
But you can have something flowy like this where you get to go and then you get speed and maintain your speed.
Yeah.
I don't want to have spaghetti, like trails that are like switch back. You're like going,
You
back
want to be able
forth.
to get some speed.
Yes. So it's a fine line between the two. And my predecessor did a good job laying out the park. And truthfully, I haven't built any new trails. Ever since I started, all I've been doing is repairs.
Yeah.
It's tough to talk about this without bashing my predecessor. So I do have to be careful in the way I address this, but as time passed, he kind of was his commitment to the park eroded a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he started going there less and less, and it's only natural, it's not like he's a bad guy, because he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And he's continued helping me even after he's gone. He's continued helping me, telling me, this is the deal with this is the deal with that, there's this under that mound, there's this, there's a lot of things to a lot like this that used to be a dump, to that are like things that are surprise. And he's basically been helping me navigate how to modify the park. Like there's certain areas that have sand, there's certain areas that have crap black dirt, which we call black sand, which sucks. You can't build anything with
Hero sand.
Yeah, it's terrible. So he did a good job laying it out, and since I came in, all I've been doing is just optimizing everything and getting the trails to be just badass again, and doing some new builds here and there, some geometry tweaks to some of the trails, but for the most part we've kept the trails the same. We haven't built anything yet. We are working. We have plans for a couple of new trails.
Nice.
But we get all these new projects and new fixes and repairs, and then it's those big things get pushed to the back burner.
Yeah, but those berms, man, dialed in. Like they were, I don't know what I'm not. I just ride. I don't go, oh, stop. Look at the name of this trail.
Yeah.
And the first one, now that you have it reversed, what's that one called?
The
Where you
first
go
one?
in and you go out to the left instead of the right now.
Okay, that's Sand Bowl.
Yeah. Ooh, the berms on that.
Yes.
They were packed tight.
Yes.
Now, is that all by hand? You guys working by hand? Or do you get some kind of machinery? I am a bag of rocks when it comes to any kind of machinery or tool.
Yeah. So we have a couple of different machines. We have the skid steer, which is the one you see on Instagram a lot. It's basically a bobcat. It's got 2 tracks, and it picks up dirt, and then it brings it, it lays it down, and then with hand rakes, we basically shape the berm. We get the geometry really nice. We pull all the rocks out. Then we tamp it by hand with these tamper tools, which are like a flat plate, and then we compact it, and then we bring this compactor that vibrates. It's got a motor. It vibrates, and then we run it over the whole berm in a pattern, and it basically compacts. It gets all the air out. We spray water on it. And we had a big donation of dirt a year ago. You probably noticed it next to the lake. There's all this, brand new dirt there, and that was huge because it's a special dirt that has been infused with cement. So when we make a build, we use it, and after we wet it, it becomes like cement. It becomes really, really good. Yeah, it's awesome to build with.
Now, let's get this in here. This guy freaking reinvented Amelia. Do you know B-Spell B7?
That's Brian Spellberg. He's a coach. He rides every day at 2:00. He does like 14 laps of the park.
What?
He's in the most aero position you will ever see a man. He's awesome. And he's a beast. Like
those guys.
The guy is a beast. He also rides road and time trial. I think, I'm not sure, but he's a hardcore dude. He rides bike all day. Like he wakes up and goes on
he's one of those guys that just upsets me greatly. And I hear the on your right, and I'm just chilling because again, I'm old, tired man. I ride for my own enjoyment, head clearing, love the dirt. Then you got these guys they're in a race by themselves. You're like, am I part of this race? And there's the guys all lycraed up, and they blow by you like you're going in reverse.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm calling you out, B-Spell. If I see you on the trails, I will move to my left.
Yes.
Toned In loves you guys. He's a buddy of mine at work. Look at this girl right here. Mia. She's sorry she's late. Better late than never, Mia. She's jumping in to find out about trail building. Now, trail building, backing up again. Now that you build the trails, do you hate riding them?
Oh, you know
or do you sit there and you ride them, and when you're riding them, this thing keeps going?
When I started, somebody used to tell me, he used to say, "You've got to ride, man. Otherwise, it's not worth it." He used to tell me that. And I was like, okay, fine. And I will go ride. And now I actually wake up, I go to the park, I stand there in front of the lake, I take a deep breath, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so awesome, And I think in a way, I guess I'm like spoiled, because it's my own personal playground. I do go and I do whatever I want, like if I want to build this, I want to fix that, I want to work on this, I want to do some mural art on this thing. I get to choose what I do, but I look at my bike and I'm like, yeah, I should probably ride. So yeah, it doesn't I don't hate riding, but it is definitely harder to choose a bike since I have so many toys there and I have so much fun. Like one of the biggest misconceptions people have is that they ride past me and they go, oh man, look at him suffering there, building or cutting. And look at this office, man. It's air conditioned and I sit here 8 to 10 hours, just miserable. So being out there in the heat, in the sun, that's awesome. To me, that's awesome. I'm like I'm like 8 years old again, just having so much fun with my machines, just cutting, fixing, working on a gas engine, trying to get it repaired. It's just awesome. So there's this misconception that I'm out there suffering. I'm not. I'm having the time of my life. I'm so happy. Like if people don't stop, I'm okay.
You know what I find interesting, and I don't know if you were there New Year's Eve. Were you there a couple days before New Year's Eve? I don't know what day it was. It was Friday, Saturday. I could have sworn, because I've seen pictures of you with the glasses, the red and yellow, whatever, mirrored. And I was about to enter Razorback. Or no, not Razorback, the one before that.
Rabbit ears.
It was the black.
Yes.
Okay. And there was a tractor coming towards me.
That was me, definitely. Yes.
I was sucking wind. And I was taking a break. I'm like, because I just got off of whatever with the wooden berm.
Yes.
Which one's that called?
Oh, gold mines.
Gold mine. That just tore my lungs up. Yes. And then I went through the little green trail to get to, and I saw this coming past me, and I saw the glasses and the yellow. And I'm like, I wonder if that's the guy I'm about to talk to.
That's me. I'm the only one that operates that machine during the week. If one of my guys is operating it, usually I'm close by and they're doing a very specific build, because there's a couple of guys that wanted to learn. So there's like a pecking order, and I'm teaching them how to use the machines. Mm-hmm. And basically we do a build. But yeah, if you see that machine, it's probably 99% chance it's me.
So is there, like, you were coming back, is there like a secret spot for builders back there?
No, that was Razorback.
Okay, you guys were coming off of Razorback.
Yeah, that's
probably my favorite. I remember doing that for the very first time, and it was. Here's a quick question before I get to that. You guys reverse the trails a lot.
Every 6 months, yes.
Just so we can get a different feel, or is it for racing?
No, it's just so it's a new trail. It's a new trail system every 6 months. It's awesome. Here's the thing about that. Every time we do a build, it adds a layer of complexity because it has to be bi-directional. Think about that. We can't have stair drops, like where it's like a drop. Like,
yeah,
we can't have that because you need to be able to hit it from both directions. So whenever we do a build, people will be like, we'll do a jump here. And I'm like, okay, but then when you're going from that way, you're not going to be able to hit it. So
yeah,
it's, a lot of people love it. I'm fond of it because if you go to the other trail systems, there's no reversal ever. So it's the same thing every time.
Yeah, every single time.
It's monotonous, like I used to ride Levy a lot and it's just like monotonous. I used to do Velodrome and it's going in circles like NASCAR. Yeah. Monotonous. I finally settled on mountain biking because it's fun, there's a sketch factor.
Yeah.
There's a pucker factor sometimes if you're in a new trail and you're like, rock garden, uphill, rock garden,
So every 6 months, I have to relearn, because it's funny. You get accustomed. Like when I first started riding back there, and I remember, I don't think Razorback was there in the beginning, many, many moons ago. And the first time I did it, I remember going, because Razorback is a bunch of huge, like camel humps, if you will, people.
Yes.
It's like I tell my wife, it's like a high intensity interval training, because you go up and then you get a break. But as soon as you get that break, you go up. And by the time you're done, your lungs are burning. And I remember going up one of the steep and I didn't have enough power.
Okay, you stalled.
And I fell flat on my back and slid down, but luckily I had a Camelback, and it's always like a pad.
Yes.
So my buddies were watching me. They were like, you got it, you got it, you got it. And it's like, oh! And again, GoPro does not show how steep that stuff is. And I bring up Razorback because that is probably the most difficult trail back there. Do you think so? Or
for sure, yes, for sure.
Oh, okay.
It's advanced, yes.
Yeah, but it's fun, but you got to bring your lungs, brother.
Yes.
How difficult is it to work on something? Bringing that up, how difficult is it to work on something like Razorback? Again, GoPro does not show how steep, just to even stand on it would be a lot of work.
in those areas, the hardest thing is access. Like getting the machine to get to that spot where you're gonna do the build is the hardest thing, because you have narrow areas where the machines don't get to. So now
Yeah.
you have to use a wheelbarrow, which is bad backbreaking work at 43 years old. I'm not doing that. I'm not taking a
Or
wheelbarrow.
machine to do it.
Oh, it's horrid, man. You do two loads and you're just like, no, no, no. We're gonna spend half a day building an access road. So basically, the first thing is an access road to get to that place, and then once you're there, then the machine, helps you do a lot. Like, I'm not gonna say the machine does everything. There's still gotta be people on foot shaping and
Uh,
doing stuff, but getting to that point in with a machine is difficult, and that's probably the most difficult part about it.
oh, here we go. Let,
Yeah.
let me bring up a question that came up in the beginning from Speedy V. Why can't we use carpets for most of the builds? Carpets are an easy solution for berms and areas of high use. So why can't we use them? What do you think is the best alternative for carpets?
Okay, that's a great
I
question.
love carpet. I feel like it adds a little grip sometimes.
It's it's tough. Like, I think it's important to break up the carpet thing into two banks of people: the riders and the builders. Okay, so if you ask 10 riders if they want to ride on carpet or dirt, all 10 are gonna tell you they want to ride on dirt. None of them are gonna tell you, "Oh, I want to ride on carpet."
But yeah, you like dirt, but doesn't carpet help over time pack that dirt? Isn't that what it's
So,
there for?
yeah, so on the builder side of things, that's who the people who want carpet is, because they say, well, I don't want to come back to this. I want to build this and not come back. The dirt that we use, that we have now, like I told you earlier, is
Mhm.
infused with cement. So if we do a good build and we compact it well, then that thing is gonna last a long time, and the feel of it is gonna be great as you carve it. You're gonna feel a really good, uh, road feel as you ride over it. Now, there are some exceptions to the carpet, and I'm gonna admit that I have made more enemies by removing carpet than adding carpet. Go
Really?
figure. Because when I
You're
came
always
into,
going to have haters.
well, I don't like using that word, but yeah, like people have nothing to complain about. But here's the thing about carpet, right? Like, there's a criteria about where to use carpet. So my criteria is if we have a thoroughfare where a lot of families are riding all the time, and you have kids and parents and they don't have helmets, and they see a climb and they go, "Oh, let's go." And they go and they basically climb it, with their feet, and then they hang out there. They go down, they go up, they go up. They're pivoting on their heel, and they're
Yeah,
basically
they're
throwing
tearing it
their
up.
field. I'm all for it. Let's carpet that, and you will see it'll last 100 years.
I was going
For
to say it's not eroding as quick as people sessioning something or walking back and
exactly.
up and
Yeah.
down on it. The carpet keeps it
Yes.
from you having to constantly go back and fill in divots. And I don't mind it. Like I said, I think it adds a little bit of traction sometimes. Maybe not when it's wet, because we all know Amelia gets, when it rains, it gets wet.
Yeah. Here's another place where I'm all for adding carpet. Let's say you have a beginner trail that goes into an intermediate trail, and right away there's like a climb, right? So there's a trail that beginners have always bypassed, but after 2 years, Mr. Beginner says, "You know what? I'm gonna give it a shot." And then he gets to it and he doesn't have enough speed. He's not in the right gear. And he sees that and he goes, "Well, maybe I can do it." And they pedal and they go halfway. And that is the worst, because now they have a heavy bike. They're leaning over. They got 1 foot with all the pressure. They're pivoting on it. They're pushing the bike. And the damage that does is
Yeah.
crazy. So those, I'm all for carpeting those. So, when let's say we have an advanced trail in the back, an advanced berm in the back, why carpet it? The people that are going to rail it are cross country guys that are very good riders. There's no need to carpet it. So the last point of this is that you're going to have people that are trail builders or volunteer helpers that say, "I just want to carpet it and never come back to it." And I say, that's good for you, but I'm the trail boss and I'm going to have to come back to it. So I will come back to it however many times I need to, because that's what I signed up for, and
Yeah.
and then you have builders who look at Amelia and they gag. They're just like, oh, you can't, we don't have any carpets in our park, and that's just
Good
how
for
it is.
you.
It's about finding a happy medium that is going to allow us to have the resistance, also good rideability, and not make people upset. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, the carpet rips when people hit the rear brake. It rips, and now it's a rip, and you got to bring dirt, put another carpet on top, or rip it out. So it
Yeah.
still adds labor. It's just not as laborious as doing a whole new build. But putting carpet on everything is lazy building. Bottom
Yeah.
line,
It's
if you
there for a purpose. And especially, I'm coming back to, again, I'm horrible with names of trails. Um, Up, it used to be an up. Right now, it's a down berm.
chupacabra,
Chupacabra, is that what it is? It's the
a
tallest.
mountain
It's
is
the
a
tallest.
mountain,
Yeah.
multiple trails going down, berms.
But it's the tallest down. You like looking at the lake as you're going down it, and then you hit the berm.
Oh, Key Biscayne drop.
Okay. Biggest drop there. The funniest drop, as long as I've been riding Key Biscayne, or man, Amelia, there has been carpet there. And it would be nothing, I don't think, without the carpet there. Because there's so many, because when it's an uphill, it's a steep uphill and it's a long climb. People would be walking that, taking their clipped hooves over that. I totally agree with you. I mean, as a builder, I would agree with you on that.
Yes, and that is a perfect example of example number one that I said, that people walk by and they're like, "Oh, cool, let's go," and they just walk up it, and the destruction on that is crazy. And I've seen ATVs. I've seen ATVs going up that thing. Hialeah. I've seen ATVs going up, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I've kicked out dirt bikes. I've kicked out like probably 100 times dirt bikes. There's one guy that keeps going back. I've told him not to. They ride the wood berm in gold mines, the revolt berm. I'm like, guy, this is a berm for bikes, not for motors. It's a 450. I'm like, what are you doing?
And then you've got you can actually see in one of my Instagram videos of me riding it a few weeks ago. There's a guy on a one wheel. One of the guys on the one wheel. He's like right behind me, and I'm like, do I have to move to my left?
Dude, those guys are suicidal, man. Like, I don't know.
Oh, he fell. He fell hard too. And I was like, dude, are you okay?
They donate to the park also, believe it or not. I went on the one wheel groups and I told them, look, I've seen you guys, you and the electric unicycles, EUCs. You're welcome. Your stuff doesn't do a lot of damage, but you guys gotta donate, and they donate substantially. So I'm aware of them, and when they see me, they say hi, but they're okay. They're allowed.
How many now? How many guys do you have working with you?
Oh man, let me take a moment and thank everybody. In no
are they all volunteers? Everyone's a volunteer.
Everyone. Some of the guys they bring stuff. Some of the guys they use their business. Like I have a friend who uses his welding shop to repair all the equipment I have. Let me take a second. Johan, Kike, Marco, Alex, Angel, Antonio, and his brother Felian, Diego Villacres, Gabriel, Jose, Lauren, and Luis. Marcos Vega.
These are all gringos.
Yanier and Mario. These guys, man, we have a WhatsApp group, and they'll step up and they will come over during the week. They'll take a day off. One of my guys welds, and he welded the gazebo that we had that fell apart. Some of these guys are really strong. Like today we were lifting these huge heavy pavers. They're like 60 pounds each, and Marcos Vega was there, and the guy's huge. He's like does CrossFit, and he was just throwing those bricks like up 12 feet up above his head, and I was just like,
that's awesome.
That's crazy. I don't know, I would never be able to do that. Some of these guys are scavengers. Like they'll be they'll be on the road, and they'll see wood, and they'll pick it up, put it in their truck, and bring it. And I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. It's usable. So
now talk to me about that volunteering. And this guy's riding his bike and watching. Pull over, dude. Speedy V, come on. I know it's a labor of love, but I don't want you to get hurt watching these two goofballs talk. So how does one go about helping or volunteering on a trail, or at least Amelia? I mean, is there a way to contact? Hold on one second. I want to say Venakava, thank you so much, guys. You're awesome, dude. Appreciate it. One trail builder to the next. Appreciate you coming on, man. But back to the question, how does one become a volunteer?
So we have the Facebook group where people reach out and they say, I want to be a part of this. We have the Instagram, they DM us. We have also people that just write up to us during a work day, and they see, and they're like, I want to work. And then they put their bike aside and they work with us. So once they work with us one time, we add them to the WhatsApp group. Like, we don't want to have people that, they want to someday eventually show up. And a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in the group is kind of like behind the scenes. Once they show up once, they get added to the group, and then they get to hear, like, if I'm going on a week, they'll be like, I'm on my way. Anybody wants to come? I got stuff to do. And then they pick and choose what days they want to do. Usually we do Saturdays and Sundays. We have a couple of key holders. So if I can't make it on a Sunday, we have 2 or 3 other guys that are going there to trim, and they have access to all the machines and they can pull them out. So it's not all dependent on me going there. There's a couple of other guys that help and that know how the machines work and can get them running. We're open to volunteers, and it's been a tough, long road. Like, when we first started, there was a lot of like bad blood just with the community, with Amelia, because it was in disrepair. So people were like, I don't want to go. Like, nah, I don't care about that place. But we've changed people's hearts and minds by just being diligent and fixing. And people ride, and they're just like, wow, the signage has improved. The trails have improved. There's a lot of, I made these signs that say these trails are built and maintained by volunteers. Get involved. And that's, believe it or not, that's made a difference. People see it and they're like, they pull over and they want my number. They want to get in touch. They want to start coming out. So it takes a bit of it's taken a bit of time to get to this point. I remember when I first started, it was like 3 of us, and we would organize the Facebook events, and on the Sunday off, it was just the 3 of us, Yeah, it was brutal. We're out there with all the machines, the golf carts, everything, and we're just like, no one's gonna show up. No, like, dozen donuts, the coffee jug from Dunkin' Donuts full with like 14 coffee cups.
Oh,
and it was brutal.
You make me want to get involved just talking to you, because again, as I brought this up, starting this, is that we ride this, but we don't think about all the hard work that goes into riding it. And being that I always say, and I think maybe you posted or someone, I call it my trails, Amelia, and other trails here. There's my trails. But did I do anything other than ride it to make them mine?
The meme I posted.
Maybe it was a meme you posted about.
I took it down because the Miami Herald did an interview, and they posted the website, and the website had a link to the Insta. So I said, look, this is way too aggressive for the regular public. So I archived it.
Ruiz says, I have helped, and it's fun, great learning experience. I think it would make me appreciate it more.
Yeah, he comes out. He's a very strong guy, and he was out there today helping me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was out there today. He's really strong, and he's all these guys, man. Like, you have no idea, man. If I'm there, I get 3 things done. If they're there, I get those 3 things done, and then I get another 3 to 6 things done. Because it's a force multiplier. Like, when it's many of us, like we've done some large builds in like 4 hours that I was just like, wow, if it was 3 of us, this would have taken 3 or 4 work days. So when we have the more people we have, it's faster.
Now, how many work days do you work on these trails?
Well, I'm there pretty much every day, because we
You
just
are?
yeah, because we just finished a break and I'm in between projects, in between contracts. I have the ability to do this because I'm self-employed.
Yeah.
Most of my guys, they work, they're 9 to 5, so they have a sick day or a vacation day or a free day and they come over. But I'm there mostly every day. Like right now we're rebuilding the Razorback container, the tilted container. We're
Yeah.
raising it and we're redoing the footers. It's a big project. It's like
Oh, it's huge. It's a tractor trailer,
yes,
which is
we're
fun to
doing.
ride it, but it does get a little, the dry rot and stuff like that, I'm sure.
It sank over the years, so when you go under it you have to duck really
Well,
aggressively.
yeah, I guess.
Totally.
Like I said, Amelia is. I remember the first day I got the bike that I have that I'm going to be selling soon.
What
We
is it?
went. What's that?
What is it? A giant?
No, I had the bike that I was going to bring up was a Specialized rock hopper. I've been hardtailing it for 25 years. I just got a YT Izzo, um, full suspension. It's all new to me. It's very space age. But I remember taking my last bike out for the first time, and it was, you could see going up 95 to 119th, the black cloud. And my buddy and I were like, oh, well, it'll pass. It's Florida. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it'll rain. We went back there and we were like knee deep in water. We got towards Razorback and we were like, nope. So yeah, there's a lot of water back there that I'm sure you have to worry about and deal
Well,
with.
what year was that? Would you recall?
God, like 2021.
Really?
Yeah, I got that bike in 2021.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, during rainy season, if it
Yeah.
rains the whole week, it's crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys are probably at a standstill when it rains.
Yeah, and
Not much you can do.
the vegetation puts it on turbo mode, and it starts growing aggressively, and it's just like, no, we trim a whole trail, we come back 3 weeks later, and we're just like Groundhog Day. It's like we didn't trim anything. It's crazy.
My wife wants to know, can we talk about how you have that much energy? Well, he's drinking coffee at 8:52.
It's tea. It's oolong tea from China.
Oh, I saw that. I saw your post on that tea stuff.
Yeah.
But he has that kind of energy because he's that kind of personality, owns his own business. He's a trail boss, kids, wife, just a wife alone. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
That would be a certain special somebody. I was going to go here. You guys are not only building, but okay, I'm telling you, I'm learning. You guys have been dealing with this lately.
Oh my God.
Talk to me about what happened, where it happened, when it happened.
Yes.
When did this happen? The trails, for people who are just watching, Amelia caught on fire. What day was this? Like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Wednesday, January 4th.
Yeah. And how did you find it?
No, one of the riders, one of the volunteers, his name is Antonio, just like me, Antonio Santos. He rides early, and he called me. I was ready to go to the trails. I was getting ready, and he called me and he said, "Dude, there's fire." And I was like, people exaggerate everything, and I'm like, I'm like, get out of here. I drive, and I drive past the Gradini, and I see smoke, and I'm like, oh my God, and I smell, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely fire. So I go in, and he doesn't know the trail name, so I go on the ATV, I start going through all the trails, and then finally I find crossing the swamp, and there's 5-foot tall flames, and I'm just like, fuck, this is real. So I got the water jug, I turned it off. It kept coming. Yeah, I filled it up at the lake with a trash pump, and then I went back in there with a bobcat and I started spraying it, and we turned it off, but then people kept calling 911. So eventually the fire department came out. They saw it and they said, no, this has to be dealt with by forestry, which is a U.S. Forestry Service. So They came out and they told me, look, what we do usually is we bring a bulldozer and we bulldoze the whole area because you have such,
What?
yeah, because you have such a thick matting of old pine needles and leaves that you could have a fire burning down here and you can't see it on the surface. So we bring a bulldozer and we bulldoze everything and then we lift it, we aerate it, and then we can successfully turn it off. And I said, for the love of God, do not bring that dozer here because these are hand cut trails and the damage that you will do will be crazy irreparable. Like it will change the trails as they are.
Yeah.
So these guys that work for the Forestry Service, they're nature type guys, they're not animals. So they were like, yeah, we appreciate what you've done. So if I wasn't there that day, they would have brought the dozer. But I was there begging
They
them.
were
So
like, no, pump the brakes.
yes, yes. And I stayed there. Like that's the other thing that I stayed there. Well, I come back on Thursday and there's flames again.
Now you posted something that they're cutting these trees down. There were flames inside the hollow tree. The tree was hollowed out and there was flames in it.
Yeah, well, this is on Saturday. I believe no, this is like on the January 10th. I think that will be the next Tuesday. I went there with Thomas Much. He's from Markham Crew, and he helped me take down all these trees because they're burned. Right, so you look at the tree, and it could be good, it could be bad, but if it's bad, it's gonna fall, and if it falls on somebody, it's really bad. It's like catastrophic. Like it could close the whole trail system.
Oh yeah, easily.
It could get the place raised, So I decided, let me trim these, let me bring them down, controlled with the trails closed all around. That way, we know for fact that they're not gonna fall in the future. So that's what we did. It's a preventative measure.
Mm-hmm.
And once I did that, I was completely 100% sure that I could open the trails and I would have no incidents. Nothing would happen. So
I find this, you talking, your passion for this and the responsibility that you have on all of this, and you do it all for free. No, my hat's off to you. I think a lot of trail builders really need to be applauded because you are doing this voluntarily, and look what you're dealing with. Look at this. Like you didn't wake up and go, oh, God, I'm not even getting paid for this crap.
And I don't know anything about fires. Like when I was fighting the fire, I'm like spraying it and I'm thinking in the back of my head, these flames could shoot up to be 20 foot high and I would not know what to look at, what signs to look out for. I don't know if the water is going to make it worse. I don't know. So it's like weird that I was like, I could die in a fire technically, but the worst part about that fire is that we had started working on the Razorback build, and one of those days I went to the yard and we have this gazebo there. It's 18 by 30 foot, and the top had ripped off, and it's that top, the cloth is like $300. So the gazebo needed welding. So now we have the Razorback build and the gazebo that needs to be repaired. And then all of a sudden there's a fire, and I'm like, oh my God, we're like spread, like I'm doing welding here, I'm doing this. We got a Razorback build, and now there's a fire that requires chainsawing, and I'm like, worst way to start the year. It's the worst year so far because there's all these things popping up. I do think there's a silver lining to it. Like we have a GoFundMe campaign, and we're up, like $3,000 because people saw the fire and they saw me working, and they're like, look, these guys, they, let's give them the way to support is by donating. So that's kind of the silver lining to it, and I think it's good. Like we definitely need the community support monetarily, and in time wise is good. Money is also good. It allows us to buy all the things that we need, like diesel, gas, string trimmer line. The blades that we use to cut the vegetation are really expensive. I've tried looking for cheaper alternatives. We can. They're like $12 each. So and also there's a lot of little things that we need to buy that sometimes it's like, like if you saw the Home Depot receipts, you'd be like, what's this? Oh, that's what it's for. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's what it's for. And wasp spray. Believe it or not, we have a huge budget for wasp spray.
Now that the flea market down the street is closed, you can't get cheap stolen weed whackers.
Oh no, we buy them new with
No,
the
I know.
warranty.
The flea market over there, the
Yeah.
Opalaga flea market. Yeah, you make me want to put my money where my mouth is because, and I will put a link down here for the anybody who wants to donate on the GoFundMe. It's not like it stops once you reach a certain point, so hopefully that'll be helpful as well. Um, I'm gonna want to volunteer. Darn it, man! Why did I interview you?
Let me tell you
I
something,
just
man. Like sometimes what like for people like you, coaches in the mountain biking community, I've had coaches come up to me and tell me, I don't want to come out and bowl. And I tell them, you are more valuable to me, giving me advice about the trails, showing me features that we can do rather than being here pushing a shovel or a rake. Like there's people who will do that, like same
damage
thing
your
with,
trail.
yeah, same thing with you. Like you would probably do better, with your advocacy, with your channel, than actually being out there with a rake. Now, does it mean that you don't want to come out to do it one day? It wouldn't hurt,
Hurts my feelings.
but you you get a lot done with advocacy by with your channel. So
Yeah,
definitely don't feel like you gotta get out there. Now the guys that are volunteering, like most of these guys have entry level bikes. The guys with a $15,000 bike, they're not volunteering. The guys that are riding every day, believe it or not, they're not volunteering, and most times they're not even donating.
yeah.
That's the heartbreaking part about this. That these are guys that they'll go to Markham on Saturday, but during the week they'll get their safe miles in Amelia, because they're like, there's gotta be safe. I don't want to die, and they
Yeah.
do them in Amelia. But then they ride their cool trails during the week, and so it is heartbreaking that you don't see those guys' name pop up in their GoFundMe. But you can't let those things uh, make you feel upset. You just gotta keep going and keep doing the work and putting in the time, and that's
I,
my point of view, at least.
I have to be completely, totally honest. I didn't know because I thought it was a county thing, that it was county money keeping the park, or at least the north end, the trails going. Like I had no idea like I could donate. I had no idea that there was. So I think it's interesting, at least for me or anybody else who watches this, who's like your Gene MTBs, he's not even on here, but it's Trails and Ales and stuff like that, is that you guys are not county funded.
Yeah.
It's all volunteers. So I find that fascinating. I will definitely donate now. I feel like I've been right. I feel like my pay for parking, when you're parking, I thought that was going to you guys.
It doesn't even go to the park. It goes to the county. So that's one of the biggest hurdles we've had is educating people that we don't get money from the county, and so there's that side. But we've also been attacking the county, like, come on, like we need you guys to step in. We need you guys to donate with the commissioner. I got the commissioner Rene Garcia. I took him into the trails on the UTV and I showed him everything. And I was like, "What can you do for us?" And he was like, "Bye," and he left. And I'm just like, man, like I got the staff from Mayor Levine Cava at the trails. They saw everything and they were like, okay, well, looks like the trails are fine, and they left. So we definitely need to educate people on the structure of how we make money. And there's a lot of people that know about it. There's a lot of people that don't know about it. But basically, the deal was struck in 2014 where the trails are maintained by the mountain bikers 100%, but the county owns the land and maintains the land. That is a deal that's been put in place. We don't get any funding. Sometimes some of the park staff, they go in there on their zero turn mowers and they mow the open areas, but they don't mow berms. They don't mow
They don't. Yeah,
side trails. We gotta go in there ourselves.
your weed whackers.
We also sell stuff, like we sell the rubber duck bells, lights. We sell the T-shirts, the neck gaiters. We
I
sell
had no idea. This is incredible.
Yes, we have the GoFundMe now. We're doing also the advertiser. So we have a couple of advertisers. You've probably seen banners at the park.
Yeah.
We're expanding the banner initiative because we've had great revenue from suppliers that these are guys that ride their mountain bike, and it's a matter of pride. They're like, I want to see my banner here. What do I need to do? So we're you know, we collect money, we put their banner there, and they come on their bike and they take a picture. And for them, you know, they're supporting the trails. It's giving visibility to their business. So that's something that we've been able to do as of late, and we're going to continue doing. Balance, you know, we don't want to have the whole park be a billboard, but
Yeah,
most
billboard.
of the billboards are small. We haven't done like humongous ones. We're doing small ones, and we're gonna have more of those peppered here and there. That way we can get more revenue. That right there has been a huge windfall for us, because
And now this is on the website or Facebook page. How can we find out about all these programs? They're like banners and T-shirts and
yeah, it's on the website. Yes, we have the shop in the website.
learning so much. Oh, my wife wanted to know are the donations tax write-offs. I would think so. It's a donation.
So if you do GoFundMe, that's the end of it. You know, you're paying money to GoFundMe. Yeah, they keep a percentage and then they give us the rest. If you want to do a bank-to-bank transfer with an actual invoice from us, then that's different.
Okay.
But if you're gonna do $100, then you know what's the tax write-off on that?
Tax write-off.
So tell your wife to step it up to $10,000.
Chicken Sandy's a little late, Mr. Joshua, but glad to have you on. Another great mountain bike content creator. You would love Amelia on any of the millions of bikes that you own, mister. He's another great. You got to check his YouTube page.
E-bike?
I don't know if he has an e-bike. He's got every other kind of bike. I'm sure he's working on it.
Okay.
So I was going to pull up here. I was going to pull up me. It's not about me. This is what I was talking about here. I was testing my new GoPro. And that's what I was talking about. Where was that? That downhill. Hold on, let's get out of it again. I don't know if you could see it. That right there, carpet.
Yes.
So comfortable going down that with that carpet.
Yes.
Beautiful berm. More carpet, folks. Oh, you can see somewhere in here the one-wheel guy. He was early on.
Those guys are suicidal. I have no idea, man.
He wrecked hard too. I had to stop.
Yes.
Like, you all right, bro? And then here, right here, the hats off to this right here. That is a fun berm. Now, were you responsible for that one?
So that was a collaboration with Revolt Bike Shop, owned by Nick Vargas. They basically built the berm, but I built all the dirt. So basically, there's a long climb on one side, and then there's a drop. I built that with a machine, and then on the other side, there's like a chicane, and then there's a like a little tabletop, and then you have. So basically, I did all the dirt, and they funded the build of the wood, and they painted it. So this was done right after the pandemic, when the wood was like, you know, $30 for a 2x4. So they spent crazy money, but they put their name on there. Oh, he's got no e-bikes.
Okay. He will. He's got like 20 bikes. He's got a sickness.
You know what I've noticed? The guys that are like hardcore riders, they're like, not yet, man, not yet. They're like, they know they're gonna get so spoiled. So they're like, no, not yet. I'll hold off. Like I started e-biking in 2017 because of health issues. And so it's kind of like an early adopter, you know. Back then you had an e-bike and oh my God, you would get just savaged by everyone. Like the jokes were rolling fast, you know.
Well, see, you joke about that. I just now got a full suspension bike in 2023 because I was like, I've been hardtailing it for 20 some years. What do I need to change it up for? And I rode it last night again. It wasn't on a trail, but I rode it to try to dial in all the suspension and everything. And what a difference. Oh my, it's stupid. It's like, what was I fighting it for so long? Oh, it keeps me solid. It keeps me, keeps my skills. My one problem is I've been riding clipless for that long. I've never ridden flats.
Yes.
And I just got flats and I put them on, and that was a little awkward. Pedaling not clipped in.
No, you gotta clip in. You gotta save it, man. Right before you're about to hit the dirt, you gotta save it. You gotta commit.
Oh, so you clip in.
Yeah, you gotta commit, man.
And then I have to change my pedals again.
I build. No. You gotta take that till the ground, man. You gotta save it.
I'm too old for that.
You gotta save it, man.
I got the YT baby, Speedy V. This kid, Speedy V. He knows. I've already told him I would probably ruin a trail. I would ruin a trail if I came and helped out.
We're gonna have a trail day.
You'd probably, after about half an hour, you go, Johnny, drop the shovel, go to your car.
We're gonna have a trail day to repair crossing the swamp from the fire damage, and it's gonna be a softball day. We're gonna, we're not gonna have the machines out there. We're gonna fix the trail. We're gonna clean it up. We're gonna rake everything. We're gonna put fire hose everywhere new, and we're gonna make the trail pretty. We're gonna have lunch, and maybe you want to come out on that day, and then if you like it, we can put you in the group, and then after that, it'll be, in the group, we're planning the builds. Like I'll have here on my whiteboard, I'll do a design, I'll put it in there. People give me their feedback. I go to the whiteboard again, I tweak it, and that's where all the magic happens. And then once I've shared the videos of how we're gonna do a build, then when we go out there, everyone's on the same page. Everyone's just like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. It's my job to do this, and things flow more smoothly. So it's and some of the guys, they come out once a year. I do kick people out every year if they don't come out the whole year. I kick them out of the group because
you're like, well, you're not really pulling your weight. So what's
the point? They get basically insider info and they're never showing up. So I'm like, nah, you've had enough,
Berserker. Yeah, I'm getting too old to be clipped in. I need to get off that bike ASAP. Berserker Nick. That's how you say it.
I think geography has a lot to do with it. Like if you're in a place where there's a lot of downhill and like for example, here it's a cross country park. Like there's nothing, like you said, it's all rideable. There's nothing where you'd be like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna bust my ass on that one. Like no, that you're gonna ride the whole trail, and you're gonna get there tired, but you're gonna be able to ride it all. And there's other parts where the geography is crazy and you get to a place where it's ultra sketchy and you start on the wrong line and you're just like, bah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. So Amelia to me is a place that I could be clipped in. There are some trails here that I feel like I'm getting older. I need to get off.
How old are you?
I just turned 51.
Okay.
Oh man, dude,
we're old.
It hurts. Everything hurts. It hurts talking to you right now.
Everything hurts.
I feel like I need a heating pad doing all this. Now, what can I ask? And is this secret? Is there anything in new coming to Amelia?
Yes. There's a wall ride. We're doing a wall ride.
You're going to get a wall ride?
Yes, we're doing a wall ride. It's in the works. I didn't want to say anything, but since you've asked me that,
I'm sorry. It's my fault.
We're doing a wall ride. We're gonna do two. Okay.
Whoa.
There's two, but there's one that we're working on right now, and it's gonna be different, man. It's gonna be a wall ride, but it's gonna look crazy, and people are gonna be taking pictures and video of it because there isn't something like what I'm gonna do in any park in Florida. I've been to most trails in Florida, and what I'm about to do is gonna be awesome, man. It's gonna be a sick wall ride, bi-directional, which is one of the key things about everything we do, and it's gonna be awesome. Like people are gonna be like, when they show up and see it, they're gonna be like, what the hell did they do here?
Did I get you in trouble by asking you that question?
No, because there's no boss above me. I run the thing, so there's
I'm talking to the trail boss, folks.
Yeah.
What so and this was going to lead me to the next question, or actually it was good, the question before that. Again, you're like this, 8 miles of trails in this space. Do you see yourself with more trails, space for more trails?
It's tough,
Do you
man.
get out to walk it enough and go, I think we put something there and maybe do a cross?
So we have maps that we've pulled from GIS maps
Mhm.
that have been scanned using lidar. Lidar is laser radar that's shot from an airplane, and they can basically detect the land. So based on that lidar scan, we know where the low-lying areas are in the park. It's crazy,
I
but
was like, wait a minute, this is just chat about mountain biking and stuff.
yeah,
You're
but
like educating me.
because you have the geography of the park, and you have basically areas where, and we know where those are, like we know where all the low-lying areas are, like Trick or Treat, what used to be Card Trail, Paintball Loop. These are areas that crossing the swamp, these are Kids Trail, these are areas that we know flood, we know. So this is unused land that we look at and we go, let's make some trails, dude. It's a crazy giant line. You know, it's inevitable that you're gonna get people there like, bro, this is perfect, man. Woo. And I'm like, well, this is gonna be a seasonal trail because we're not gonna be able to ride it 4 or 5 months out of the year because it's gonna be flooded. It's
Rainy
just
season, yeah.
it's gonna rain, it's gonna get flooded, it's not gonna drain because it's a low-lying areas, and that's it. We're it's something that we can't use. And then when we finally get to start using, it's muddy, and you're just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you guys do that on your own, or do you have to have someone do that, or is that something that you can just kind of Google?
Uh,
Good question,
oh, the lidar
Joshua.
maps,
Yeah.
dude. Like, I'm like an internet sleuth, and I found some stuff online for the city, like city stuff that I've taken to parks in downtown, and I've showed it to them, and they're just like, "Where did you find this?" And I'm like, "I found it online. It
I'm
was
resourceful.
in one of your databases." And they're just like, "This has to be taken off of that." And so, if I don't know where Chicken Sandy's is, but you can probably research your city. Yeah, you can. Where?
Where is it? Oh, I can't keep track of where everybody's at. Indiana, Iowa. It starts with an I. Does it start with an I, Joshua?
Idaho.
Not Idaho.
Okay.
Illinois. I knew it started with an I.
So you're gonna have
Sorry.
to research. Yeah, you're gonna have to research. Look for your city, and then there's gonna be database Illinois. Okay,
Oh, yeah, I
so
knew it
find your
started with an I.
city. Yeah, and you're gonna have to research. Look for GIS maps, and you're gonna find some of them. If you find the lidar scan but you can't open it, it's because you don't have the GIS mapping software, so you can't open it. So you can find somebody on Fiverr to open it for you, zoom in, and then give you the scan, and then you can see. There's also, like, we get flooding here in South Florida, so I found some flood maps that basically show 1 foot of flooding, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet,
Wow.
and you can see how the water is rising in the map, and then you can see how you lose your trails, and then that also allows you to see the highest areas. So it's incredibly useful because people are like, here, man, we'll build a trail, and I'm like, look, this is gonna get flooded. This is not gonna go, or it's like we get mosquitoes in an area that's flooded.
You
You
think?
get close to it, and you're like, oh, let's
Oh
go.
man, I hate that's my. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, getting eaten alive when you're riding is no bueno.
yeah.
Um, I hear the passion that you have for this in your voice. I mean, this is something when you started this in 2016, you said
2000 is when I became the trail boss. In 2016,
2000.
that's when I started volunteering because I just saw too much trash, and I was like, what's up with all this trash?
So, but you became trail boss 2016,
No, in 2020. Sorry.
2020.
Yeah.
Has this really changed your life? I mean, when you first started picking up trash to becoming like the trail boss, I hear the passion. This is a real love that you have for this trail and this trail system.
Yes, it's changed. It's changed. Definitely changed a lot of how of my hobbies, everything. It's definitely changed my life. Like being in there and just learning about the park and learning about trees. I couldn't tell two trees apart, or a
Yeah.
bush. I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was. And now it's like I know what that tree is. I know that's a native, that's an invasive, that one's got to be cut. I understand more about forestry. I've also developed a lot of relationships in the forestry field with the state and the county. So those are things that are invaluable. Like the forestry guys, they turned off the fire, but at the same time, they were like, "This is great. Like, can we come do training here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course you can do training here. We got trees that need to be cut over here."
Ah.
So yeah, I become a chainsaw dude. I don't want to say I'm an expert because I'll be jinxing myself, but I'm pretty good. I'm okay with the chainsaw, which has given me opportunities with hurricane recovery, just going out there and
Oof.
cutting trees and getting them out of there. So
Sure. Irma was a fun one.
that was what leveled Amelia completely. Irma
Yeah.
leveled the place
Leveled.
in 17. Yes.
Yeah, leveled everyone. Virginia Key had to completely redo all their trails. It just um do you bring this passion that you have for this? And I'm sure it's a greater love for the trail than when you first started riding. Now that you're the boss of maintaining them, does the passion transfer over to your family? Do they enjoy it, Amelia, as well? Do you take your kids and family for rides as
So
well?
yeah. So my kids don't ride bikes yet. Like they're late bike bloomers. They're like, "Oh, daddy, daddy." But I do take them on the UTV, and we go out there. We do the pop up tent with my daughter. She loves it. She's like, "Don't be cheap, t-shirts." She's just, people ride by all offended, and I'm like,
because because
"Don't get stuck
Amelia
up."
is that kind of park where I love when I'm done. I love chilling and hanging out afterwards. I mean, and you see people with the pop up tents, and there's bike groups that go there, and
Yeah.
it's just a wonderful park to be at. My sister, money in, money out. How do you show the county that the trails are an asset to the county, trying to get money, or do they just turn a blind eye and a deaf ear?
Exactly that. They turn a blind eye and a deaf ear. The agreement was set in stone in the past, and there's it's tough to talk about this without putting people down, and I definitely don't want to um I don't want to talk bad about people, especially like park management.
Yeah, let's
But
just say it's hard.
it's hard, like it's hard to talk about these things without
Yeah.
offending. But the park managers, it's a revolving door. You get a manager for 3 4 years, and then they get a promotion and they go someplace else. So current park management has been very status quo. Like they're just like, look, we don't want ambulances here. We don't want you building a jump line next to where the little kids are riding. We don't want dangerous stuff near the lake because that's where all the families ride. And if you put something dangerous there, you're having exposure, right? So they don't want dangerous, they don't want accidents, they don't want ambulances. They told me, you want to do a jump line in the back, go for it, because only advanced people are going to get to it. Also, if you start building trails, don't start building advanced trails. Start with beginner trails, intermediate trails, and then do advanced. So they have been very apathetic in some regards, but they've also helped me with other things. But
Yeah.
for the most part, the agreement is set in stone that they will not give us money. We're self-funded, and in a way, I guess it's kind of also like a war of attrition. They're like, we could turn that area into something else. If we were to leave it to complete this repair, they could raise it and do something else there. They could do an aquatic center. They could use that whole land to do something else. Like they literally could turn it into something else. Like,
Oh yeah. That could
so
be like no mas, no more. Let's
exactly, they could if they really want it. And I'll tell you this because I found an old map for this proposed thing where they had racquetball courts, basketball courts, ice skating, no, roller skating rink in the trails, and I was just like, "What is this?" And it's a dead proposal. It didn't go through, and now it's all about, there's Amelia District being made right next to Amelia. It's like a new Wynwood, right? And
really.
my fear is that those people are going to run out of space and they're going to look at the park and say, that those woods right there, we want that. We want to buy that.
Oh
So
man,
because you
that's
know how
that's
it is, they see the land and they're like, that's money right there. We can turn that into money for everybody. So because of that, I'm doing art here and there. I'm sprinkling art. I'm making sure the trails are really good trails with a
yeah.
lot of people riding. So
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I get what you're saying about your county, and I know the city has talked. Somebody has talked poorly in the city about Virginia Key and saying how dangerous it is, and how they wanted to get rid of it because the land is worth more. Virginia Key, Amelia, walking out on the street is dangerous in some parts of Miami. You got to have places in Miami-Dade and the city of Miami for people to have outdoor fun. And we don't have a lot of that with bikes. I mean, I ride over to Key Biscayne all the time on my bike, just on the street. You get hit by a car there.
yes,
Many people have. So I think it's important to get the message out that trails like Amelia are important for the community.
yes,
It's
yes,
Yeah,
and
it's not just about money. It's important for the community to get out and enjoy the nature.
yes. I have noticed though that the support that Amelia as a whole gets from the mayor of Hialeah, of of the county, the commissioner, they're all very pro Amelia. Like that's what I've noticed. Steve Bovo, he loves Amelia. Rene Garcia also, he grew up in Hialeah, he grew up in Amelia. Mayor Levine Cava has had a couple of events in Amelia. So
Nice.
I know that these people that are right now are in leadership, they will fight tooth and nail. So it's not like they have some commissioner who likes it, but the day he retires, we're done. That's not the case. Like we're talking about all the leadership loves that park. So by extension, the trails, I feel for now, in a sense, they're protected. As long as we don't have accidents, we don't have ambulances, we don't have negative things happening, like people
Yeah,
getting injured or dying. If as long as we don't have that, then we should be able to maintain the trail system in place.
perfect way of saying that. The accidents and injuries, and I'm sure stuff happens. Again, I could ride outside of my house and get in an accident and be injured. Do you remember? You said you started riding when, Amelia?
I started riding in 2015. 2014, that's when I bought my bike. That's when I started.
Okay, I can't. God, when did Amelia pop up?
It's been around for a long time, but the
I re-
earliest, yeah.
yeah, there was no Razorback when I first started, and
Oof.
there was a gargantuan teeter totter. Do you see
I
yourself
did.
friggin'? It was a really long one. It was a skinny and it was really long, really easy to ride for some reason because it wasn't high up. It was probably just a few feet up, and you just skinnied it and then did one of those.
Yes, there's a video of it on YouTube. I'll send you the link to it.
Oh,
This is
I gotta
from
look that
before,
up.
yeah, before Razorback was built, it was back there. This is before my time, but that whole area changed, and we can build a teeter totter. Yeah. Now,
They're just fun to take pictures and videos on for your Instagram now. Back then, we didn't have cell phones, but it was just, those are fun to do. I don't know why. It's that weight and then the down.
yes, yeah. I think the biggest request that we get is a jump line. We need a jump line, and it's like, do you know how to jump? No. Well, okay,
But I want to learn.
we just don't have the elevation to do it. That is the
Yeah.
problem that we have. We don't have a long downhill. What we do have that are long downhills already used for something.
Mhm.
So, if we were to build a jump line, it would be the challenge of building. So I wanted to build a mountain in Amelia. There was a moment when we had a guy who could bring us so much dirt that we could bring a mountain. We could build a mountain, an actual mountain.
Oh, wow.
But the amount of money required in diesel was like tens of thousands of dollars, which I didn't
Oh,
have
my
enough
gosh.
time to spend on the trail. So The second biggest request is the raising the container in Razorback. It's too low, man. It keeps sinking. So we're doing that right now. That's definitely one of the biggest complaints. The last one is car trail. We get car trail requests all the time. When can we ride? When can we bring back car trail? And unfortunately, it is a federally protected wetland. It's been designated as a wetland. Why? Because the granite drains onto that area.
Uh-huh.
So what they don't want is for us to go in there and build a trail that bisects that, raise the dirt, and then you don't have proper drainage, and then the highway is getting flooded, right? So because of that, they've designated an area that we're not supposed to build it. Now, if you go on your bike, you can probably ride car trail during dry season. It's
Is that
low.
the part back by the fence near the Gratney
Yes, yes.
that you used to go back to get to Razorback?
Yeah, no, not Razorback,
No.
but it is next to Trick or Treat. There's a way to ride it.
Okay.
People ride it. I am just not allowed to build on there. If
Okay.
the park goes back there and they see tracks, they see build, they've told me specifically not to build back there. So self-preservation comes before a sick build, bruh. So I'm not gonna do it. You can ride it. It's not gonna be pleasant, but I'm not gonna bring a machine in there because the day they see tracks in there, I'm a goner, and I don't want to be a goner because I
Yeah.
I
You love
did
it.
what I was supposed to.
Now, Berserker Nick, Berserker, a pump track. There's all that space south of the trails that is next to the lake. Are you allowed to build anything there? That kind of dirt road area, whatever.
um, I could. The problem is that it's too close to my yard. It's too close to the yard, um, and like right now, I put all these telephone poles there that were hidden, and they're wet, and I'm drying them out. So
Oh, okay.
it's like a staging area. Sometimes we have 18 wheelers that come in there to deliver materials, and we get them with the forks, and then we
Okay.
have that big area there.
That's also where you guys like if you're having a race or something. There's like staging areas back that way, and by
Yeah.
by the lake. Josh, I live about what do you think? 25 minutes, 30 minutes from where I live. I'd say 30. So far. That's why it's one of my favorites. It's only 30 minutes from my house.
Yes.
It's so great.
Well,
Hell,
he did mention Berserker. Nick mentioned something about a pump track. We do have a pump track. It was built for 24 and 26-inch wheels. So the issue with it is that the humps are too close to each other. Now, I'm not a pump track expert, disclaimer, but from what I've read, I've bought some books on pump track design, and you need to have for 29ers, you need to have 12 feet for every foot of rise. So the spacing between humps needs to be 12 feet for every foot. So as you make these humps and you do them over 12 inches, then you need to space that out a little bit more. Right now, the spacing is like 8 feet, 8.5 feet. So what that means is that on your 29er, when you go in, you're like, it's just
yeah.
jerking you up and down.
Because
Second,
you do have a pump track
we do, but it's
back
just
there, and
it
I
needs
actually
work.
skipped it last time because I
Yeah,
was
it's
just
in
like,
bad shape, man. It's full of carpet. It's fully carpeted, and it is an area where it gets super moldy. Like if you go in the morning, you'll be sliding like whoa. Yeah, so it's
uh,
yeah.
how about elevated wood trails like in Alafaya?
Um,
That's you do have that one big bridge. That's just fun.
Golden Gate Bridge.
The Golden Gate Bridge is fun.
So, elevated wood trails, we can do them. The only issue we have is the wood's expensive.
I was going to say cost. It's not cost
Yeah, the
effective
cost
right
is a
now.
big issue, but we have we have a hydraulic auger, so we can make it. It's just a matter of finding the right spot for it. I do have in the works an elevated feature that's going to play into the wall rise that I was talking about earlier. Um, so Speedy V, he actually cleared the pump track this last time. It took him 2 work days to do it. That's Yanier. He's in my crew, and he's dedicated. He's one of those guys that like of all the people that work at the trails, the most dedicated ones are the ones that cut, without a doubt. Amelia is one of those trails where vegetation comes out of nowhere, and you're just like,
It's South
no.
Florida. It just grows.
You're riding and you hit the plants and you taste the sweat of the last guy, and you're just like, and in Amelia is crazy, man. Like you're you,
I'm
you
sorry,
go
I
down the
was
trail,
to taste the sweat of the last guy who got hit. That's funny.
you can't see past the corner, so you're using your brakes. You know, you're like, oh, I can't see. And then when you trim, you're like, oh, I can rail this because you can see. So the guys that cut are just like the best, man. Like I have some of the guys in my crew, like Angel, Matthew, Yanier, who are just like, I'm gonna go to cut. I don't care about the build. I need to cut because like that is definitely the hardest thing is cutting. You're out there with the machine.
So true.
It's dangerous. You're cutting. There's people skipping the arrows and going into the trail, and you're just like, dude, what are you doing in here? I'm cutting, and they're like, dude, get out of my way. I want to ride, and you're just like, wow.
That's so true, though. Any trail down here, the other trail we were talking about earlier is this. You can't even see where you're. I mean, if we all know the trails down here, I could probably ride the trails down here with my eyes closed
at night.
Yeah, I know. Except I haven't been to Markham in many moons, just because it's too far when I've got two trails right here.
Yes.
But literally, it's a lot of growth. You guys totally. My wife, man, look at this. I was going to say something that this is how much you love trail building. It's like you're buying books to research it. That's phenomenal.
In the beginning, I bought some trail building books and pump track design, and I read them, and I was like, there's very little here, because here's what you have to understand. Like, some of the trail builders are probably listening to some of this, and they're like, it doesn't apply to me, because every park is different in a couple of ways: vegetation, geography, and the type of dirt they have. So we'll get volunteers that will watch a bunch of YouTube, and then they come and they're like, I'm ready to build. I saw it. And I'm like, none of that's going to transfer here, because we don't have that kind of dirt. We don't have elevation. And, the feature that we're doing here is not like what you saw. So, like clay, people are like, clay, bro. Clay's the best. Like,
I love your Ripper voice.
Yeah, bro. You got to have clay, bro. And it's like, clay is ridiculously expensive. Like, we can buy a truckload of dirt for like $280. The clay is like $800.
Yeah. Again, people like me who thought the county was just funding everything. Why don't you just get it?
Yes. So
no, I was gonna say, because I really appreciate your time. Were there things that you wanted to address with the trails that you've probably gotten lots of questions on that I have not brought up, and that you'd like to address, so people might be able to go, oh, he answered that question, and now I know.
Let's see. The carpets are huge. Car trail, the flood zones, the jump line. We do want to have a jump line. We do. It's in the works. Like, I've asked people, like, I've been approached many times with people like, dude, I can do the jump line, bro. I got it. And I'm like, okay, write it down on a piece of paper how we're going to do this.
And where?
Yeah. Find me the spot and write a piece of paper the procedure of how we're going to do this. Disappear. Because it's more than just doing a sick build. There's a lot of planning that goes in behind it. Like,
no, dude, you just shovel dirt. Make it a mound.
Believe me, it's very elaborate. Like, there's a lot of planning. When you see us do something, chances are I planned it. If I didn't build an access road to get there, like, I had to go a couple of days before and build a road so I could get there with the machines.
This is amazing.
Buy the diesel, do the design, go there and just look at it. And I'm like, what's going to be sick here, bro? Like, it's more than just going there and let's just build it. And then getting everybody on the same page. So there's more to it. And
this is why I really was so excited about having you on, is that there is so much more.
It's a world. It's a world.
And it's so much more than just a shovel and some dirt. There is so much planning. There's funding. there's a lot of volunteering. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it. And for us to just go out there and shred and not even, not even think about it. I thank you. I thank your volunteers. It's amazing. There's a question. Have you gotten to know a lot of riders out there, and do you feel the appreciation of it? And you know what I mean? Like, do people stop? Because I know when I at other trails, and I would have stopped you, but you were in a tractor, and I'm sure you wouldn't have heard me. But I do like to, when I see a guy with a weed whacker, I like to say thank you as I'm riding past. Do you get a lot of that?
Definitely, the support from riders has been huge, and I think the final test that people are really appreciative is one of my friends traveled, and he was like in the turnpike, like in some state, in some city in Central Florida, and he saw a guy with a Santa Cruz, and he told him, "Oh, dude, that's awesome. Where do you ride?" And he started telling him, "I ride here and here and there." And then he told him, "But you know what place is awesome? This place called Amelia in Miami." And my friend called me like, "Dude, this guy just told me that Amelia's in great shape." And I was like, the first time somebody has complimented the trails in a vacuum, because people come and tell me the trails are awesome. I'm like, okay, maybe they're just jerking my chain. But having it happen completely isolated without any knowledge of the connection was like the final thing that it was like, yes.
You like hung up the phone and were like,
yes. I felt like, now I have final confirmation that yes, we're killing it. We've really transformed this place, and we're really doing it. We're really,
yeah, you've got legit trails, and you need to, folks, you need to bring your lungs when you ride these trails. It's no joke. We did talk about donations and fuel. Donation fuels our progress. Yeah, I will put a link to your GoFundMe and to your website, which I didn't do earlier. I put your Instagram and Facebook. You got this, man.
So I want to say one last thing.
You're ending it now. Okay. It's your podcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, well.
No, I was actually going to end it. I was going to start wrapping up. I don't want to take any more time from you and your family.
I want to say something. Like in 2020, when I started, it's easy for me to sit here and be like, "Yeah, I'm the trail boss, man. I got this." But in 2020, when I started, I knew nothing. I knew nothing. Like, and I reached out to all the parks, all the people that run the different, all the trail bosses. I reached out to everyone, and I told them, "I know nothing. Anything you can do to help me, I'll appreciate it, and I will make sure that I get you back in the future." And all these guys, Markham, VK, Olita, Quiet Waters, everybody stepped up and told me, "Come over, let's talk." Some of them told me, "We're going to spend an hour on the phone. I'm going to walk you through." Some of them gave me advice on building. Some of them actually helped me with the builds as I was building them, like on the phone, telling me what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong. Some of them helped me with the community at large, how to address the community. Some of them helped me with the park, with the bureaucracy of it. So everybody stepped up in a way, and that's kind of what got me to where I am. For me to sit here and be like, "Yeah, I did it, man," it's not right. All these guys, yes, all these trail bosses took time out of their day at that moment when I needed the most, and they helped me. And that was the biggest push I got in the very beginning. That was just like, okay, I got this. I got people to support me, and that was so important for other trail systems to help each other.
That's sorry, Tech. That's what I love about this, and the fact that it even extends not just through riders, but there's no competition in trails and trail building. You all are one big community, and they all came out and was like, "This guy's the new boss. Let's bring him in. Let's help him. Because you ride, I'm sure, Virginia Key. I'm sure, everyone rides everything. There's only so many trails down here.
I'm not allowed. I have an e-bike, so.
But I mean, still, I think that's what I love about what I'm doing right now is that it's bringing the community together, and the community's already together.
Yes.
I think that was a great message that you just sent, is that you weren't alone on this. the community came together to help you create such a great system like Amelia.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I want to say something. A
Say
lot
it,
of
man.
it's Hialeah, you know. So people come and they're like, look, they have this mentality of we're just gonna grab this piece of wood and turn it into a trail, and I want to emphasize to people that we need to get rid of that mentality. The we're gonna grab trash and turn it into a trail and then pretend that we're so smart because we turned this piece of trash into a feature. I tell people when you go to Markham or VK and you see a new build, the whole thing is prime. The whole thing is new. Everything they have is new, you know. And in Amelia, for years, you know, trash has been repurposed as trail features, and
Mhm.
I'm past that. You know, like I don't want that anymore, and I'm having trouble getting people to see it that way. That when you go to Markham and you see a sick new build, nothing there is trash. Nothing was trash. It was repurposed. All of it. They bought it and they built it, and it looks
Bought
sick,
it. Yeah.
works, and it's baller. You know, and we need to get to that point. Like that is the mentality that I want to have with all my builders, with all the volunteers, is that everything we do has to be beautiful. So when people come from the outside, they see it and they go, yeah, chef's kiss, you know, like that's what we need.
Yeah. It's a great trail. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I really appreciate your time. This has
Thank
been
you.
an incredible insight to the trails again that we ride here in South Florida or anywhere, that there's somebody that's coordinating the chaos that goes behind the curtain and your Oz. My wife, here we go. Amelia deserves chef kiss. Hashtag.
And then also
So,
instead shredding, bro.
hey, bro. I want to thank you. Thank your family for me for allowing me to have this time with you and
Thank you so
take
much,
this
Johnny.
time away. I will leave a link to the website and donations where you can leave donations, the GoFundMe for the burn. And I thank you again.
Thank you.
And I forgot this earlier. If you didn't, like and subscribe while you're watching it. I should have said that earlier.
Let's do it.
I can't because it's my channel. But Antonia, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for all your hard work, man.
You out there, man. We gotta get together in there one day.
Now, folks, go get your bikes dirty if you can. Take care, guys.
Okay.